There are 18 political parties, we understand, said to have fielded candidates in the next month presidential race. But one party is definitely in troubled waters due to internal issues. That is the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Justice Inyako had removed the Nwosu-led leadership of the ADC and nullified all actions taken by them from August 21, 2022 to date. She also affirmed the leadership of Senator Patricia Akwashiki, which conducted the primary that produced Dumebi Kachikwu. But Chief Ralph Nwosu insists, this is the man whom the court ruled against, insisted that Mr. Dumebi Kachikwu is no longer the presidential candidate of the party. He said the party will not field any presidential candidate for the presidential election. Mr. Nwosu said he was not aware of an Abuja High Court order which sacked him as the national chairman of the party, expressing regrets that delegates of the party made the error of choosing Kachikwu during the national convention and the primaries of the party earlier last year. Tonight, let's speak with the man in question here, the man whom Mr. Ralph Nwosu is speaking about, and is the presidential candidate of the ADC, Mr. Dumebi Kachikwu. Thank you so much indeed for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Are you on the ballot?
Of course I'm on the ballot.
What is happening with your party? It does look to me that that battle rages on. After that court case, Mr. Ralph Nwosu seems not to be satisfied, or he doesn't even recognize whatever that has gone on. And it appears yourself and Kwashiki, the realm of affairs of the party is neither nor there in your reach.
Okay, well, what happened is that after the Justice Nyako gave her ruling on the 20th of December, that ruling has been served on INEC and served on law enforcement. But what we notice and what has been in plain sight all this month is that the INEC chairman seems to be in cahoots with Ralph Nwosu, because once the order was served on him, he has had several meetings with Nwosu, which seems to suggest that he's disobeying the court order. So this is an INEC chairman that speaks about credible elections, but his actions are not credible where it concerns my party.
So let's clear it one after the other.
Yeah.
You say you've laid two claims now. You said that the INEC chairman is meeting with Mr. Nwosu. Are you privy to that?
No, he had a meeting. These are meetings that
with political parties.
With political parties. Nwosu was there. 2 meetings now. The INEC chairman has had.
INEC is still recognizing Ralph Nwosu, isn't it?
If Nwosu is in a meeting with the INEC chairman, it seems to suggest
with the commission.
Yes, correct.
So because you make it look like there is a personal or private meeting with Mr. Ralph Nwosu.
The chairman of the commission is the figurehead of the commission, and when he has a meeting with party chairman and he brings in someone who is no longer the chairman of the party, someone at a court, a competent court of law has ruled that this man is no longer the chairman, and all actions taken by this man since August 31st are null and void. And when INEC chairman is having a meeting with this man, what does it suggest? It's, first of all, he's in contempt of court, and he's saying to the whole world, I don't care what the judge has said. So we're going to go back to the court and ask the judge to look at the actions of the INEC chairman.
Are you aware that there may be an action to appeal that High Court ruling, and perhaps there is a stay on that?
There's no stay, and the notice of appeal, as the courts have ruled, does not stay a ruling.
But there is a notice of appeal.
There's a notice of appeal. Well, that's not a stay on a ruling until a competent court of law gives a stay on a ruling stays valid.
But there is also a procedural policy in the court. When there is an hearing or when an appeal has been entered, it effectively tells about the substantive judgment, isn't it?
Yes.
So has there been an appeal filed?
An appeal, there's a notice of appeal. That's all we have so far.
And you are privy whether or not the appeal has been validly filed. You are
exactly,
not privy to that.
So what we have is a notice of appeal.
So now let me ask you another question, and which is the fact that you have laid claim and allegation against the INEC and the INEC chairman. Are you aware or not that INEC may not be privy to the judgment, or INEC may not have been served? Has INEC been served?
INEC has been served. We have it on good authority. INEC was served. INEC endorsed their copy. They received it, and we know that they have been served. So what INEC is doing essentially is trying to maneuver this process. Unfortunately, and if you know what has happened within our party, INEC is the custodian of the constitution of all parties. The same INEC happened to know that the tenure of this man who has been there for 17 years lapsed at the end of August. INEC, knowing this, still continue to deal with this man, therefore jeopardizing the ambitions of all candidates in our party. The judge has now ruled that all actions taken by Nwosu and his cohorts are null and void. INEC, knowing this, is now still allowing the same Nwosu and his people continue to upload agent codes as we speak. Now, this is a party that they have said very, very clearly, Nwosu and his people, that they intend on aligning with other parties. What does that say? That INEC supports something that is disreputable. Nigeria is one of the only countries where you have an electoral umpire, that you are watching candidates in different parties fly the flags of other parties. It says a lot about the credibility of our process and the kind of process we run. But under this INEC chairman, it seems to have gotten worse.
You are still on the ballot.
Yes, I am.
As far as the INEC.
Of course, correct, yes.
But the only thing that you don't have working in your favor is that you do not have a leadership that is in your favor. Kachikwu, who is supposed to be on your side, is not recognized by INEC. Doesn't that speak volume?
So the court has the final say, and the court has ruled. What INEC is doing right now is going against a valid court order. We've gone back to court now to ask the judge to look at the fact that INEC is in contempt of court. INEC has disobeyed a valid court order. That's what we're doing. Because what this is doing to the candidates in our party is that it's jeopardizing all our efforts. Because as long as people who intend on trading our mandates are still in touch with INEC on a daily basis.
So are you alleging? I am say it clearly. So
I am saying categorically, we are watching them. We will see very soon. You'll see what will happen. We've seen it in time past in previous elections. What they will do is to come and say they are in an alliance with another party. And I'm warning all parties, especially the APC and PDP, that any of them who dares to enter an alliance with Nwosu's faction of the ADC, they will see the candidates within my party will make them our business. We will make them the focus of our campaigns. Our mandates will not be traded. So we're watching them. And I say to anybody who is giving money to them, who is in alliance with them, who is in talks with them, stay clear of the ADC. ADC is not for sale.
You're making allegations.
I am making strong and categorical statements.
That money is exchanging hands without evidence. You're mentioning the name of Ralph Nwosu.
What I'm saying,
you need to be able to. This libelous. You need to be able to. You have evidence
my dear Shehu,
to that effect.
My dear Shehu, I'll repeat this again. When someone who claims and who says he's been the chairman of a party for 17 years is speaking about forging or entering an alliance with other parties, it speaks volume as to intent. It's that intent I am speaking about. We're in an electoral season where we see people, voters are being lured to rallies and being paid to attend rallies. Now you again speak to, I'm making serious allegations. This is Nigeria. We know what is happening.
But you don't have evidence that the man in question, the man you are making allegations against, actually collected money from anyone.
I have not said he has. I'm saying that.
Anyone giving them money.
I said that anyone who intends to enter an alliance, a commercial alliance, and I'm warning them that if they do that, will make them our focus.
Let me
ADC.
Why do you think that Mr. Ralph Nwosu had said categorically, and as part of my introduction, that the party does not intend to field any candidate, and that your emergence was an error?
So let me tell you this. I was validly elected by a convention that had over 2,000 delegates. So Nwosu is talking absolute rubbish there. All Nwosu wants to do, and all Nwosu has done in his career as chairman of the party, is to enter alliance before the elections. And I'm saying that my election will not be one of those elections. I will not be one of those candidates who he trades off. The late Maliafa, this is what happened to him, and he never recovers from that. I've said this before in your show. And I'm saying that I'm a candidate who is running my election, and Wosu will not trade my mandate or the mandate of any other candidates in my party.
Some of those who are opposed to your stand in the party, because Aya said, I mean, your emergence was an error. You remember the position of the likes of Professor Kingsley Mohalu, those in the party who believed that there was, some underhand dealings in your emergence as a candidate of the party.
Absolutely.
Would this kind of event prove them right?
What event here? I will remind you that there was an almost 300 gap between I and Mohalu. There was no contest there, so I won't even speak to that. There was no contest there. 300 difference between I and Mohalu. I won that election fair and square. All I'm saying right now is that INEC, there's a court order. Recognize that court order. Stop dealing with these people. That's all.
Going forward, how do you think Nigerians will take your ticket seriously? Because the election is 43 days, you are still having internal fights.
So, yes, internal fights are a distraction, yes. But we still stay on course with our message. Tell you what I believe is a tragedy in this election circle. It's been difficult for people to stay on point in speaking to a message about the problems that beset Nigeria. We have infrastructural deficits, we have inflation, twin problems of inflation and recession, inflation above 21% officially, and we know officially it might be double that. We have unemployment, over 60 million people unemployed. Poor people, over 120 million people said to be poor in Nigeria. Our healthcare personnel are leaving Nigeria in droves. Our middle class leaving Nigeria in droves. Our borders porous. We are exporting and trading in human parts in Nigeria. Kidnapping is the business of the day. And we need to speak to these issues. Unfortunately, in this political dispensation, in this election race, it's been difficult to focus on issues, to speak to solutions, to provide solutions to the problems besetting Nigeria. All we speak about are non-issues. And I refuse to be distracted. And I'm calling on Nigerians because this is a strategy, especially of the big parties. Confuse you with the jokes that go on every day, and nobody speaks about these issues. Some of us in the smaller parties, I'll tell you this. When we joined this race, we joined the race believing that at some point we'll sit on a platform with some of the bigger parties, have a healthy debate, and talk about our problems, speak about our economy and what needs to be done. Every issue concerning the economy. What do we do? What do we do about security, about healthcare, about education? We ran because we believe that we have something to offer so that we can sit down with these people and Nigerians will hear us. It's now an ideas contest. Unfortunately, Sheung, 40-something days to the elections, we've not had this opportunity. Nigerians have been denied of this opportunity. So every day we hear about endorsements that you ask yourself, what are these endorsements based on when Nigerians have not been able to actually hear or see anything?
So you're not happy with the endorsement? Well, Peter Obi has received more of those endorsements.
So let me speak about endorsement. Like I was saying just now, people are making endorsements based on nothing. You are building something on nothing. If we had had these debates, if we had had the opportunity to robustly discuss our problems as Nigerians, Nigerians will be better off. This is what we see in all climes. Nigeria, a country of almost 200 million people, has not had the opportunity to do this. So we enter this election and nobody has come and said, you know what, we've debated the housing problem in Nigeria, our infrastructural deficit. What do we do about tourism? What do we do about healthcare, education, about our economy, about corruption? Nothing. Nobody has had the opportunity to discuss this in detail. And we're going into the elections. So when people go on 25th of February to elect a president, what are they electing a president based on? When they have not heard anyone speak critically to all the issues that beset us.
I mean,
so that's why
your entering into the race was not to win it, was just to have an opportunity to debate.
Absolutely not. My entry into the race was to show Nigerians that in the midst of those who are out there, that I have something that is going to rescue Nigeria at this point.
Do you feel disappointed?
I am. So the issue at this point is that you get the feeling that you are running a race against a major system. One part of the major system is Nigerians, who seem to be in this bubble that we call the Stockholm syndrome or Nigerian syndrome, who seem captivated by those who have held them captive. And it worries you when you go out there, because considering that even if you earn 50,000 naira a month, it cannot last you 1 week in Nigeria. These people who should resent these people, who should protest against these same people running, you see them there. When you watch what you see out there, you are marveled, you are amazed. How can these people who are suffering so much still be ready to sell their birthright?
You are a 48-year-old presidential candidate.
Correct, yes.
Are you disappointed that your message is not resonating with the young people of Nigeria?
So, like I said, we do know that the Stockholm syndrome is operating within Nigerians. Am I disappointed? Yes, I am disappointed. I believe that a lot more needs to be done with Nigerians, because when people are suffering from a Stockholm syndrome, you need to go through a psychological process of loving these people, talking to them, encouraging them. It's not a one-day process. It's a sustained process that you need to get them out of this. Nigerians, unfortunately, might be running out of time. I tell you this, Sheun. Come February 25th, right? If we elect one of these people that the media seems to call the leading candidates as president of Nigeria, at a time when we all know that our problems are so monumental that everybody says that no one president can come in and solve our problems, and we then bring the same people who have caused our problems to continue to put out the fire that they have created. I tell you what my worry is. The 120 million poor Nigerians who we take for granted, who we take their patience for granted. I say this all the time. My worry is that, what if I'm leaving your studios and that's when they erupt? That's when they cannot take it anymore. That's when someone says, I cannot stay 4 days without eating anymore. That's when someone says, I cannot live a hopeless, dejected, helpless life anymore. That's my biggest worry. That's why, with the remaining 40-something days we have, I call on the media. Let's not be distracted. Let's hold our presidential candidates and all candidates accountable. Let's bring them to a table. Let's discuss, debate these issues. Even in debating these issues, you get to learn something from your opponents. They get to learn something from you. We get to discuss the problems of Nigeria. That is not in play here. And so when people get into office, having been elected into office based on reasons that are not objective, you find that Nigeria is the worst off. The world has given up on Nigeria. Nigerians have given up on Nigeria. That's why they're leaving Nigeria in droves. Those who have decided to stay, if you decide to stay in Nigeria, you must then fight for Nigeria. I'm running because I'm fighting for Nigeria. I
have not given up on Nigeria.
I haven't. That's why I'm here.
I've had the opportunity to leave this country several times, but I will not, because I believe in this country. And so many people, perhaps millions of them who are watching tonight. But on a final note, if you say you have fears about those you think that in the front line in the race for the presidency of Nigeria, that you don't see them as the right candidate for the job, what do you think is a consequence? And who do you think, because I know you say yourself, and why would you think that you are the best candidate?
So let me say this again, Sheun. Nigerians have heard for so long that if they get the elections wrong, that something will happen. And nothing happens, and Nigerians believe that we have a lot of time. Let me say this to Nigerians, all Nigerians watching me. The time has come. We've run out of time as a country, as a nation, as a people. This soup that is being cooked to disintegrate Nigeria is on the fire. The elections we're about to have is the matchstick. Depending on how Nigerians vote and what happens in these elections, Nigeria might not be what we know it to be. You have those who believe that it's their turn, that they have been denied the opportunity to rule Nigeria in the southeast, and who a lot of them are speaking towards P2B because they believe that he's an Igbo man and it's the turn of the Igbos. You have an Asiwaju who says, it's my turn because I have sponsored other people and it's my turn, irrespective of the fact that my cognitive abilities have so declined that I'm not able to perform in the office. You have the PDP candidate who is running a race, whereas within his party believe that the ticket should have been zoned. And now you have other candidates who are coming. Someone like me who's saying that we need to build a Nigeria that works for everyone, where we no longer respect tribe, ethnicity, religion, where Nigeria is founded on meritocracy and not on mediocrity. In Nigeria, where we protect our borders, where we take our people as our key assets.
If Nigerians are not voting for you, who would you say they should vote for? And the other guys that are on the ballot?
If they're not voting for me, who should they vote for? Tell you what, I don't see anyone.
But yourself?
I don't see anyone amongst the people you're probably referring to. You're talking about, are you talking about
18 of you?
18 of us.
So if they're not voting for you, for example, who would you suggest that they vote for?
Let me say this very clearly. Nigerians must vote in a direction that is different from what they have done before. You see something, Shehu? If you take the trio of Asiwaju, Atiku, and P2B, what they have in common is that they have all held office in Nigeria that is seen to be a failed nation. Nigerians must take a chance on trying something new. It can never be this bad. What we have experienced in the last 8 years, it can never be this bad. But if we go with these people, we're continuing on this trajectory.
Dumebi Kachikwu, the presidential candidate of the ADC. Thank you so much indeed for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Shehu.